I mean, I feel sometimes, or increasingly, like I'm just from a different world than the one we're now in. Certainly a different society. I'm sure it was the same with you when you were growing up, but the Britain I grew up in was a place which liked resilience. I mean, we admired resilience. We didn't admire people who whined and mewled. In fact, those are the people you avoided.
Yeah.
At all costs. Gosh, he's a whiner. God, he's a whiner. I mean, and people said things like, mustn't grumble. It's one of my favorites. How are you? Mustn't grumble. Now he'd say, well, actually, I've got stage 4 cancer.
I'm not sure that's grumbling.
I know, but we talked about it like that.
Right, okay.
People from that generation still say things. I have a friend of that generation who's got cancer at the moment, and she's like, oh, it's so boring. Oh, it's so boring. Everyone I grew up with was like that. Now, you might say there's something unhealthy about that, but there's actually something healthy about it too. And there's something healthy about assuming that everyone has their troubles, and so they don't need you to add yours to their list of things to worry about that day. And, cheer people up and encourage them where you can and so on. And certainly don't bring them down.
Well, it's the weird sort of self-fulfilling prophecy of pedestalizing victimhood that there is a limitless sky on how much victimhood you can claim.
Yes.
Whereas if your status and your prestige is downstream from your accomplishments, there is a limit on how much you can accomplish because you need to go out and fucking do it.
Yes.
Right? Reality is going to constrain how much impressive stuff you can go and do, but there is a ineffable universe of athlete's foot and my gluten intolerance and my chronic flatulence and my whatever else.
Yes.
Those are things that you can just continue to accumulate like trinkets.
Yes. I just find those people boring. I just don't care for victimhood. I think it's an undesirable emotion. It's a sign of a rather undesirable person. But I don't know why we've given into this. I'm genuinely, particularly in Britain, I'm just baffled by it because it wasn't the country we had.
Well, maybe it's, how you said your solution for courage was to surround yourself with courageous people. If you kind of get this mimetic wave,
yes,
almost moving through where fewer courageous people are around, which creates fewer courageous role models, which means to,
Yeah. And you have the thing of men being persuaded to become cringing eunuchs. It's not a good thing.
Well, that's another reason why, this conversation around the guy in the subway is so interesting because is he really supposed to stand up for the women, or is he mansplaining? What if he mansplains while he stops a woman from being dragged around by her hair?
Well, of course, the answer to that is that the era has to say, you know what, there's no such thing as mansplaining, or at least it's not very important. Get on to something more important, like women not being assaulted on the subway. Choose your priorities.
But the denial of sex differences would lead to the conclusion that woman can. Like, why shouldn't the women stand up?
Why shouldn't they use their upper body weight?
Yes, to push this fentanyl-fueled maniac off this lady.
Well, as I say, it's a luxury belief, that one. And it doesn't meet reality very well. I'm not sure anyone would be very happy if the men in the carriage said to the women in the carriage, go on.
Your turn.
Yeah. We've had our centuries of patriarchal hierarchy and warfare. Yeah. What is it? There's one that got my goat recently with somebody. Was it in the US or UK? It always happens now whenever anything comes up about conflict. Hillary Clinton was one of the worst culprits at doing this, but they always say this thing of, one of the reasons you've got to stop any war once it starts is they say, the first victims of war are women. No, they're fucking not. They're men who do most of the fighting and the dying. Hillary Clinton's point is, well, then they're widows, and then
the poor widows of the men that are dead.
Yeah, actually the British MOD has a special section now dedicated, I think thanks to the impressive insight of that military expert Angelina Jolie. They have a special bit of the MOD dedicated to women in conflict, the suffering of women in conflict. Why not have the suffering of men in conflict as well? Such weird priorities, our age. It's totally unserious. This age is so unserious. So you can't help thinking that at some point the maniacs, the barbarians will just break in because we've made ourselves so weak.
But it's so captivating, right? This is what I meant when I said, have we progressed beyond peak woke? Because it seems to me like both the hyper woke and hyper anti woke thing is capturing so much of the attention.
Oh, I'm so bored of these people. They're so ridiculous. Can't spend any more of my life listening to them. I don't want to listen to the slowest kid in the class. I don't want to go at his or her speed. I don't want to talk to somebody so mentally impaired that they think that we are a weirdly hermaphroditic species, or that the clownfish is a useful species to interpret behavior of human beings. Like, we can't go at this speed. No. 20 years ago, at the dawn of the internet age, we had hoped that we would get so much farther in the 21st century. And here we are with this stupid society slowed down by maniacs debating the first thing we knew, boy or girl. Like, no, not going at that speed.
Emma Raducanu did an advert for HSBC recently, which you may have missed. HSBC rewrote 3 classic fairy tales. Their book's called Fairer Tales, and it shows that women don't need men at all. With financial attitudes shaped as early as 5 years old, the new book challenges traditional gender stereotypes. The new book, called Fairer Tales, Princesses Doing It for Themselves, reimagines Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and Rapunzel as successful businesswomen. Prince Charming...
Successful businesswomen,
Prince
really?
Charming is erased as the main character. Emma Raducanu read to them, so in the end, the princesses didn't need a prince to save them. They set up their own businesses, saved their money, and then spent it very wisely. Maybe one day you'll buy a tower or set up your own shoe business.
That's a quote.
Said the tennis player.
That's the worst. I mean, I read Meghan Markle's book, The Bench, and that's worse. That's worse. Wow.
Yeah.
What an inspiring tale.
Fairer Tales.
It's so
Princesses doing it for themselves.
Have you seen the South Park episode of where Cartman wakes up? He has a nightmare.
You told me about this over lunch yesterday. For the people that haven't seen it, what is
it? Cartman has a nightmare. It turns out he is a diverse black woman. His character is recast, and all of his friends, Kenny and everyone else, are diverse female or transracial characters. And then Cartman wakes up from the nightmare. No. And his mother comes in. What is it? Are you having another dream where once again all my favorite characters in the cartoons have been replaced by ethnically diverse women? And she goes, "It's okay, Cartman. It's okay. The CEO of Disney isn't hiding under your bed. Hey, would you check? Would you check, Mum? Okay, I checked. She's not there. I'm worried that she's going to come out again, replace all my favorite characters with ethnically diverse women." I love those guys. God, they keep doing it. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with there was that rather unappealing young woman who was meant to be is playing Snow White in the new Disney Snow White.
Rachel Ziegler.
No, somebody else. And she...
It is. Is it? Yeah. Rachel Ziegler. Well, she said Prince Charming wasn't a prince, he was a stalker.
Yeah, and she didn't need Prince Charming to discover that she could be the woman she could be. I mean, this is like sub-Barack Obama circa 2007. Like, the princess is the person she's been waiting for or something. You think...
Your sister's keeper.
Why don't they invent new tales? That's what I can never understand with that. Why don't they just invent new tales instead of screwing up every existing tale that's loved? Make your boring movie about an inspirational tale of a woman who wants to start a business and then does and has some success. I mean, okay, make that into a film. Why do you have to go and ransack and pillage all of the storehouse of stories that people liked?
Brett Cooper's playing Snow White for Daily Wire. Did you see that announcement?
What?
You haven't seen this?
Oh, no.
Let me tell you. Jeremy Boring and Ben Shapiro are doing their own live-action remake of Snow White with Brett Cooper as Snow White. Because she's like West End trained, right? So she's a very well-trained, supposedly a very well-trained actor who can sing, apparently. It's like the triple threat, podcast, act, sing.
Right.
And they announced it the other week. It's going to be coming out next year.
God, I hope they'd slay Disney.
There's a rumor that Disney has had to reshoot a ton of scenes, including all of the dwarf scenes, because originally the dwarves weren't dwarves.
That's right.
They were like a multiracial just group of different people.
They were diverse ethnic women.
It was the South thing again. But apparently, this is just a rumor, but apparently they've reshot it, all of the scenes with the dwarfs, to CGI actual dwarfs in.
Oh.
So they've gone full...
Yeah, because I know that there was a revolt of the dwarves, which is something you don't hear every day.
No.
There was a revolt of the dwarves because, of course, dwarf actors who have their equity cards are annoyed because there's not many dead cert jobs.
Yeah. You'd have presumed that there should have at least been 7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus a stunt actor. Stunt dwarf.
Stunt one to do all 7 stunts.
Well, you could have 14, I guess. It depends how demanding the acting.
How much largesse you want to spread around the dwarf actor community. But yeah, the point is that there actually was apparently a rebellion about this because these are some of the few dead cert roles we've got.
Well, is this not the same, the people who didn't cast that, is that not the same group of people that would say we can only have a gay actor playing a gay man and we can only have a black actor playing a black man and we can only have
Those people are such, I won't use the word. Yeah, I mean, that, again, we haven't got time to go at the pace of these people. Acting is pretending to be other people. People will be shocked that most people who play Hamlet are not themselves members of the Danish royal family. Welcome to the world of make-believe.